misbegotten tales that I think will get a reaction. Hallucinations? The stories in this here anthology may in fact be true wild tales I've absorbed over time, perhaps drenched with generous hyperbole? I'll let you decide. Friends have insisted I translate these hallucinatory depictions of fragile reality to text, so over the long haul, I've documented these accounts and transcribed in marginal space on computers and scraps of dog-eared paper since 1975. Hey, I just retired from professing math at my university here in New Mexico, where I was a tenured faculty member for decades. That means it's finally time to pay dues and actually collect these seamy stories and release as the compilation you currently hold in your paws. Hence, I will be spared future necessity of ambushing this spiel on unwitting victims. I can now just throw this tome up in the air and hope it sticks, somewhere. I am well known for my tapeworm story, which is a rather gnarly freakout involving some poor fuck who gestated a gigantic parasite long after an all-night sushi binge. This was handed down to me from a friend whose dad actually doctored the dude. The narrative presented here is primarily a transcript of a protracted chat with two acquaintances, a former student, Sarah, and a Slovakian computer science colleague, let's call him Artav. Their reactions to the details are almost as sour as the tale itself. It's pretty harebrained, and to separate fact from hallucinations, I corroborated the logistics at the time from the doctor firsthand. There were times, I confess, when students in my after-lunch calculus class, collectively closing eyes from one of my inspired lectures, begged diversion. I would ask if they prefer to hear the tapeworm story. Yeah, they would bleat, and without waiting for extra encouragement, I'd jump into it. Frequently, a few would excuse themselves to the lavatory halfway through, presumably the PB&J they had devoured for lunch threatening expulsion. In fact, more than a handful of these hallucinations from hell lean on the bilious side of the street, maggots, a cup of pus, etc., but transcription of the repulsive is not the intended theme of this book, whether it's about mathematical nightmare, 20 fig newtons, or of pest ridders from the dark side, A-OK pest control. These tales chronicle a not-so-distant dimension of life on this planet. Really, I'm more of a voyeur and journalistic muse, processing this unlikely reality as it constricts my first witness belly like a pissed-off python snake. And the Rocky Erickson yarns, Rocky, some of you might know, was the lead singer-songwriter of Texas 1960s psychedelic cult band the 13th Floor Elevators, are totally legit. He was a colorful guy back in the time. Boy, could he write amazing, riveting tunes, and that voice. Eventually, Rocky emerged as a legendary performer and well-followed musical icon 30 years later, albeit less with the stream of conscious Luciferian fountain of froth that he maniacally expelled back in 1978. Did the killer bees really swarm his motel room and instigate a brain hernia that nearly prevented his performance at the Whiskey A Go-Go the next night? Yup, I was there. If you don't believe me, ask the Aliens, Rocky's backing band, electric auto harp sorcerer Billy Bill Miller. He was there too. The Rocky story in this book harps on the queer and transcendent mental wavelength he dialed back in those days. He'd always tell me we were horror pals, an accolade to this day I hold close to my heart. But I'm not in any way, shape, or form using this documentation of bizarre behavior to make fun of the guy. His talents have been incredibly inspirational. His improbable appearance with Doug Somm at the Palomino Club in North Hollywood in 1975 was a game-changer for me. I was hypnotized. The authority of his voice and larger-than-life performance that night turned everything upside down. The redneck, beer-swilling, steak-chomping cowboys in the audience, presumably there for good old boy Sir Doug's tunes, aspirated their steak sauce when Rocky called on stage and Somm's last set started wailing like a two-headed dog. Speaking of dogs, No More Dog tells the sad story of a mad hound hunt gone bad. It centers around this retro rockabilly dude, Hank Jones.